Hello again and welcome back to Woodhill Park. You may have been wondering what's happened to the Deltic on my layout, as you wouldn't have seen it since Christmas, and that's for a very good reason, that it has been steadily getting worse. I did have motor issues a couple of years ago, which I think it was Graham Faulkner on YouTube, Lakeside I think his channel is, he looked into how he could improve his, because his was running poorly as well, and he went through adjusting the CVs. Well, I did a similar thing and it did start running better, but it has been getting worse again, and Christmas probably was the last time you see this running, and even then it was touch and go that it would do what I wanted it to do in the Christmas update, and steadily it really has got bad. It runs slowly either way, and slight variation in speed, hesitating, and then when you actually change direction it sometimes even just stops unless you touch it lightly to get it to move. So there's fluctuations in speed all over the place with it, and totally unreliable, and that's just running it on its own without pulling any coaches at all. So, as Accurascale would like to say, when I actually contacted them, I reached out to Accurascale about this issue, as I wasn't very happy that I paid £250 for this model, because it is a sound fitted model. It is one of the original, well, first batches I suppose, and all I really wanted was a replacement motor, because I know that is the issue. And I spoke to somebody there, I don't know who it was to start with, and they said they would put forward my sort of guarantee inquiry, as it's supposed to have lifetime guarantee now on the motor. I suppose the loco altogether, but the motor anyway, because of the issues they've had. And I waited for a while, and they said that they would get back to me. They got back to me and said yes, it's been agreed. And then I got an email about sending the whole loco back with the packaging and everything, and what I agreed with them was just a motor and flywheels change. So I then contacted them to clarify it, and then somebody, I forget what it is, I think it was Stuart or somebody at Accurascale, suggested I paid £22 for the motor and postage if I wanted one. And I thought, hang on a minute, you're supposed to be honouring this sort of lifetime guarantee, and now you're telling me I've got to pay for the motor. So I wasn't very happy, so I fired off another email to say, you know, can you clarify this? Are you going to give me a motor or what? You know, £250 for a loco that I haven't used a hell of a lot, to be honest. And since it had the issues, I've been holding off using it really, and really sort of airing my sort of contempt for having to pay for a £22 motor when it's not my issue. You know, it's not my problem at all, it's their manufacturer problem. And it's well known all over YouTube that they're having these issues with motors. So I then suddenly got an email back saying it was a communication error, and it got all confusing, and a guy called Simon said he would put one in the post straight away. So the outcome was good, and the motor arrived very quickly. First post Monday morning, after them sending it out at the end of the week, and I'm now yet to put it in, and that's what I'm going to do now. I shall open her up and do a refit, and we'll see how this new motor performs. I did ask, have they been updated or whatever, and I got a very sort of blunt answer: they've been improved. So hopefully this motor is an improved version over the original one what was fitted in it. Fingers crossed. I did mention this is the only Accurascale loco I own, and it has put me off buying from them. And as you well know, I've got loads of locos on the layout, and I stick mainly with Bachmann because I'm not too sure about Accurascale at the moment, even though their detailing in their models is brilliant, although bits on this quite often fall off regularly, and that's well known as well. I've got a whole bag full of bits on it. Also the speaker vibrated because it wasn't screwed down properly. It was only screwed at one end, so there was always vibration with it. I had put in a bit of foam padding to stop the vibration. That seemed to cure it, but it's had ongoing issues, to be honest. And I suppose everybody deserves a sort of a chance with a new model, teething issues and whatever, so I don't entirely blame them, and hopefully they are sorting these issues out now. But whether in the future I do buy another Accurascale, I don't know. I did feel like I wanted to buy a Class 37, but then the people having issues with that put me off, and I carried on buying Bachmann models. So I'll see how this goes, and if this goes well and I don't get any issues with it, I'll look at buying new models from them in the future. But as I said, they did come through in the end, and providing this motor works, hopefully it will be a happy ending. But I'm going to open up and do a motor refit. I'll do that right now. Now this loco's got clips all the way around. There's no screws, which in some ways is better, but it can wear out in future, and the clips can break. So screws are preferable, even though screws take a while undoing. But I'm going to have to go through regluing some of the windows in as well, because one has just fallen out. I think it was on the way out anyway, and some of these others are becoming loose. So it's not, the glue they've used is not very good. And bear in mind this is what, 2 or 3 years old, and all the glue is giving out on all the windows already. I could just push them lightly and they'll go out. They'll push out, which I don't think is very clever. Anyway, I'll carry on and hopefully don't lose the window when it falls out. Very carefully take the body off. Now I have had this apart to check the motor out in the past and tried to solve these issues like I've said. So when I did do that, I took the chains off the body and I fastened them in a strategic place that looked right on the bogie, so that they're all one with the bogie and you don't have this issue with them being attached to the body, which makes it very hard to maintain this loco. Anyway, how many windows have fallen out? 2 windows so far, but I can see myself, no one's going there as well. I can see myself going round with a bit of glue to put them back in. I mean, that's not the end of the world, but it's a pain. It shouldn't be happening really. So the body's off. Right, what I've done is there's 2 small screws at this end, and there's 2 small screws here holding a bracket across the speaker at this end, which was the only way it was held in place, as that there wasn't any screws at this end, even though the bracket was there originally, not doing nothing. So I got the bracket and the bits and pieces with all the other odds and ends that have fallen off it, as it's not really required. Yeah, it's a case of lifting the board out. That's it. And under there is the motor. In this case, the motor that's not working properly. I wonder if I can extend the wires a bit. As there's not a lot of room to get in there at the moment. Pull the wires through a bit more. Right. I don't know if you can see that. I'll have to look on the monitor myself, and you probably can. I'll zoom in. You see the motor in there. Now I've just got to pull this motor out. I think it's held in with brackets actually. Some motors and some locos just floating almost, just held down by the PCB, but in this case they actually have screwed the motor down. Yeah, the speaker was flopping about, so not really consistent. Right, one bracket out of the way. And there's the other bracket, so I'll put them carefully out of the way. Now, this should just lift out, and I'll have to realign the flywheels again. That's it, she's out. And I remember last time, for some reason, the wires were soldered on to the wrong pads. That's plus and that's minus on the motor. I mean, it doesn't really matter in some ways because the motor goes either way. It reverses and goes forward. I mean, that's how they work anyway, but why it was originally wired wrong to what the PCB says, I don't know. But I remember putting it back exactly how I found it, because I did have the motor out on the bench trying it out, trying to find out what the issue was. So I'll just desolder that and we'll put the new one in. Same size, same everything. So we'll take it out of the packet. There's not a bit of rubber padding on top of this one, so if I can save that rubber packing that's on there, maybe it'll come off, maybe it won't. If I can encourage it with a scalpel. Yes, peeling off, so I could reuse that. It just cushions the PCB, and the PCB sits on top of it. Put that around. I'll zoom out because you probably can't see what I'm doing still. Alright, put this pad on top of the new motor. Now the new motor, I did notice going, there's like a washer in here. I don't think it's like a rubber, and it's just loose, flopping about. Gotta get in properly, show it to you. But in there, I don't know if you can see it, it's like a rubber band flopping around. Well, I think that's supposed to be on the end of the shaft. The other end's on there. Mind you, that could easily come off. I don't know if that's supposed to be a seal or what in there. Yeah, it's very hard to show you, to be honest. So I've just put a little touch of Copydex under each one. I don't know what function they are. They don't look like they've got a function at all, really. It's more like just a trim, but yeah, don't really want it flopping around while it's working. You know, the flywheels have been balanced by the look of it. You've got a white dot on there and a line across that part of the flywheel, so they've been balanced. So wires soldered on fairly well, so hopefully it won't fall off. Right, I'll desolder the old motor and put the new motor in place. Use my gas soldering iron. Have to be a bit careful with it, but I like the flexibility of it not having a cable on the end of it, so heats up fairly quick, and it's just really quick in and out. That's it, wire off. The other side. Take the red off. Right, both off. Let's have the old motors out the way. And have they tinned the end of the wires? They look like they're okay. So I could add a touch more solder to the pads just to refresh the flux and solder. Take the wire underneath like it was and round to the PCB. And then solder it on. And the same this side with the black wire. Funny enough, on the positive pad, but as I said, it was like this when I opened it up, so I put it back like this. That's it. All soldered, done. Reasonable joints, nice and shiny, no dry joint. And now it's a case of lining up this with the shafts. Probably can't see what I'm doing here because I can't even see what I'm doing myself. But, that's lined up with one shaft. Lower this into place. That's it. Both shafts are engaged. I need to turn the motor around. Spin the motor body round. That's it. Down in there. Make sure the wires aren't trapped. I'm going to need to look under the magnifier to see that the wires aren't shorted to the body. A minute. Everything looks alright, but the contacts on the motor are very close to the bodywork, which is not ideal. I think I'll check that there's no short to the body actually with my meter. Right, let's try the black, make sure there's no short to the body. Right, no short from the black. And no short from the red to the bodywork at all. Even though they are very close, not ideal, but I'm satisfied with that. And once the clamps go on the motor, it shouldn't move. Right, clamp back in. Screw up lightly, the other screw in. I'll use the magnet end of the screwdriver, hopefully. Yep. Then get the other clamp. In place. One screw up lightly, the other screw. On the end of the magnetic tip of the screwdriver, and then in. thumb and forefinger to tighten up very lightly so you don't strip the screws. Just go around, check again, screws are tight, but don't over tighten them, so you'll strip them. Now we'll put the PCB back on. I mean, I could check for lubrication. I seem to remember lubricating this before though because of the issue. So I think there's enough lubrication there. You can over lubricate things. So I don't want it swimming in something. Right. Get that board fitted back in place. Not to trap the wires. Seems a bit tight, I think. Wire might be trapped. There's a little notch in the board to allow the wire for the motor to come up. So carefully push down, pull the slack from the wire, or the slack of the motor, so there's no slack down where the motor is, in case it turns into it as the motor turns, and then put the screws back. Basically there's only 4 screws that hold this PCB and 2 of them are doing a double sort of job. It's holding the one end of the speaker. Very strange design because they had holes, 4 more screws to hold the other end of the speaker, but they were never used and there wasn't any screws. And I think there's no pillar underneath to screw it into either. So that's why I couldn't fasten the speaker properly at that end, because there never was means to do it, and that's why all the vibration from the speaker was a characteristic when I bought this. Screw this back down. Right, same technique, thumb and forefinger, spin the screwdriver until it's reasonably tight, but don't over tighten screws. Yeah, that's all ready to go back. I could run this now actually to see that it runs okay, and then glue the windows back in the back in the body. I wonder whether to try any other windows, see if they're going to fall out. Looks like the front cab window's loose as well. Yeah, that's coming out as well. I don't know what glue they use, but it ain't worth a light. I'll get me glue and glaze out and use that in a minute. Right, I'll zoom out. Yeah, the front windows are coming out as well. So I'm going to go round them all, I think, checking that they're all glued in properly. But before I do that, I'm going to put this chassis on the layout and see that it runs okay. Well, I've got the chassis on the layout, and we'll go one direction, and she's moving really slowly. So that looks okay. We'll press reverse or forward, whatever way it is. I can't tell at the moment. And she's moving that way okay. Now, because it's a new motor, I'll be running it in again. So I can't expect it to run too smooth to start with. Even though all the gears have run in, this is a new motor, so we've got to give it a chance. But that's promising. That's just one speed step on my controller, and it's running smoothly either way. So far, so good. Now I'll just get those windows stuck in and we'll put it all back together. I really haven't used much glue to glue this glazing in, hardly anything at all. There's one spot of glue in between the panes of windows and in the centre section. If I can point it out. There, one little spot, that's it. No wonder why they fall out. Hopefully that's good. The glazing doesn't actually fit that well. Maybe that's part of the problem. Now the other end, I don't know if that's falling out or not. It's not yet. So what I'll do is just add some glue to it so it doesn't come out. This glue should go totally clear when it goes off, and it is a very good product, glue and glaze. One of the neighbours on his souped up on the 50 or whatever it is. I don't know nothing about bikes, to be honest. Never have been interested in bikes. Not the motorbike ones, anyway. Ordinary bike's alright. Anyway, I'm going to work out if there's a way up to put this glazing in. Just wait for that to glue to dry and I'll put the body back on. Alright, it's all back together now. And there's the old motor. Now I've put the new motor into the loco. This old motor, I think I'll just investigate it and have a look at what's possibly gone wrong. What people say that happens is that there's carbon build up between the segments on the commutator and starts to play up and short it out. Some people have cleared the gaps with a pin or sprayed sort of switch cleaner inside. So I'll have a look, and I might see if I can improve it and have it as a spare. Hopefully I'll never need it though, if this new motor stays the course. Right, it's all back on the layout, and I'm going to fire her up. That's not the sound of the Deltic, it's me clearing my throat. Now the Deltic's clearing its throat. So, it sounds good. Alter the CVs again as it did an immediate swap one direction to the other. It didn't come to a slow halt. So far, so good. Right, she's running fine, it's just a case of tweaking the CVs and running her in. So I'll let the motor run in for a half hour either way. And at the moment it's looking fine. Let's hope this motor continues to act like this. It's lovely to see her back running on the layout. Just like to take a moment to wish my workmate Steve all the best, as he's had a bad accident and he's now residing in hospital. So Steve, I wish you a speedy recovery, and I'll see you soon, mate. We pay a lot for these models, so it's very interesting to find out how their customer services are and you get treated when things go wrong. And in this case, Accurascale won through in the end, and I was quite impressed with their service. The Deltic is one of the most popular locos on my layout. I'm always getting requests to show it in an update, so it's very nice to have it back in running order. I hope this update goes somewhere to helping anybody with a similar problem sort their loco out. It wasn't totally straightforward, but as you can see in the video, it's quite easily accomplished with a little bit of skill. So hopefully it'll be of some use to somebody. That's all for now. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again next time.